Yeah, like I said, Beit Rise, that's in northwestern Jordan. So what's that, two so far? Satsiyah, which is also at the southern portion of the West Bank. So that's three. Kada, that's also in Palestine, also near Tiberia. So what's that for? I'm trying to make sure I don't forget. Al-Fiq. That was another one. I couldn't find nothing on that place. Not where it's at, anything. That's the fifth one. But that's one place that he did conquer as well that they mentioned. Let me see. Al-Jawlin. Now that's in southwestern Syria. And it's really not that far from Busra either. I'm looking at it, or when I was researching it, I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the map. I'm like, okay, it's west of it. I would say probably like 40, 30 miles west of Busra. So what's that, the sixth one? I think that's it. And then they also mentioned Accra. They said that he conquered there as well. And it was another one, Tyre. Said he conquered there in Tyre. But that's in Lebanon. Let me mention that. That's in Lebanon, Tyre. Southern Lebanon. So, yeah, that's it. As far as him, yeah, those are the places they said that he been to. But they call it Syria, but I think that's just, that's obviously just a translation of Ashem, but really Bilad Ashem. That's all that's a translation of, because many of those places that I just mentioned, they're mostly in Palestine or Jordan. Only like one that I mentioned out of the whole list is in Syria. The other two is in Lebanon. So, yeah, I think, let me see, that's it. What else they said at the chapter? Because that's basically the end of it, aside from like an apostasy period that occurred later on as far as in Tiberia. I left that out. Or Tiberias. I left it out because it has no relevance. That's later on. Make sure. So they defeated the Romans in Fihl. Not stipulation, but I guess the agreement in Fihl also. It was an agreement that was reached there after they finally beat the people, according to this chapter. And it was, the people got to maintain or keep their possessions, the walls, and their churches. So I guess some of them, or a lot of them, were able to maintain their religion as well. And I think that's pretty much it for them. Beisan, that's different. Now, as far as what happened at Beisan, that's in the book Tariq al-Tabari, which I'm about to go into right now. I just wanted to get the chapter of the origins of the Islamic State out the way. Okay, that's out the way. Now, the parallel reference is this book. And like I say, to me, it go a little bit more in depth, but it's a couple of portions, especially in the beginning, that I find I was kind of confused on. Now, in the beginning, let me see. Okay, they mentioned Abu Ubaidah, and of course he was in Damascus, and he left Damascus. Now Khalid also remained in Damascus, but also Yazid ibn Abu Sufyan. They mentioned him in the book al-Tabari. He was left in Damascus with the cavalry there as well. So Abu Ubaidah and Amr ibn al-Asi al-Sami, both of them went south and they went toward Fihl. Now the thing is, Amr ibn al-Asi al-Sami, he was in charge of two ranks there. And the dude that I mentioned as far as like in the first, like in the chapter, the origins of an Islamic State, even though they didn't mention him, but as far as like the jargon that I created with it, Dr. al-Azor or Azwar, he was one of the guys that was mentioned in this book to al-Tabari that made this journey with Abu Ubaidah. Now, he was ahead of one rank, which was